On your screens, pictures of the vast and expansive Kakuma camp in the north. Later in this broadcast, we'll take you to the camp and explain about the opportunities to learn. That coming up shortly, plus much more. A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on NTV Weekend Edition. Tonight, I'm your host, Smriti Vidyarthi, stepping in for Edmund Nyabola. The top stories.
Tonight, watch your plate, and not just for your waist. As you enjoy your choice meal, you may just be eating your way to cancer.
That obesity can increase the incidence of at least 13 different types of cancer in your body.
Also tonight, before you post that photo or video with cash on it, think twice. A pastor has had to repent for it. We tell you why. Plus, they were deep in crime and deeper in hopelessness.
Kitu 6 hapo, besti yangu akakuja kaniambia, "Hey, Mama Wirimo, ujue mtu wako ameshauliwa."
Nilikuwa nakunywa na mtabangi, natumia matapta, yani nilikuwa natumia madawa zote.
But they saw the light. Our special feature tonight. And another loss in the business community. Former KEPSA chairman and advocate Karanja Kabage passes on.
Good to have you with us. Joining us in the sign language interpretation tonight is David Agondoa. To our top story, and the increased cases of cancer in the country are indeed worrying, and the deaths it has caused heartbreaking. Well, to many it has been a mystery, a distant situation. But for some, it has visited their homes, their communities and other circles, turning it into a stark and dark reality. Well, the composition of the food on your plate is increasingly contributing to the situation. Charity Mwangi kicks off our broadcast, bringing to us voices of doctors and experts who claim that the increasing cases of cancer may have a direct link to what you eat.
The food you eat, more so in the city, may be appealing to the eye and taste as delicious as advertised. But medics warn that that food you enjoy so much might just be what causes your terminal illness.
A lot of junk food is being consumed. A lot of unhealthy, processed, packed food from the supermarket is being consumed. And the old traditional cultural ways of cooking food is, I think, slowly becoming obsolete.
Is that temptation? When you are so busy and you have no time to make dinner for your children, you want to pass the pizza place, you buy pizza.
But now the effects are becoming more real as waistlines expand.
That obesity can increase the incidence of at least 13 different types of cancer in your body, men and for women, by almost 18 to 20%. So if you become obese, you are welcoming cancer into your body.
Why we worried about obesity is because no one is screening for it, and it's resulting in very serious metabolic complications. It's causing cancer, it's causing diabetes, it's causing hypertension, it's giving people strokes, and yet we are not noticing this.
Traditional misconception of weight gain, which in most Kenyan societies is a depiction of status, is, according to the doctors, something that ought to be evaluated. What we view as convenient living, characterized by easier movement and less physical activity, is also doing little to remedy the situation.
I get patients coming from Kenya to Mumbai for the surgical treatment for obesity for the last couple of years, and every time I come here and I go back, I see more patients coming for the treatment.
A sedentary lifestyle and scrumptious foods that are harmful to our lives. This is what has brought us here. But doctors say that the effects can be reversed if we adopt a more active lifestyle and watch what we eat. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
All right, well, here now are some facts and figures on lifestyle diseases. Cancer is the third greatest cause of death in Kenya. The top is pneumonia, followed by malaria, according to the Economic Survey of 2018. Now further, just under 17,000 people died of cancer in 2017. Lifestyle diseases are on the rise, contributing to about 70% of modern-day deaths. When it comes to obesity, 35% of Kenyans are obese, the bulk of whom are actually women. Now, by age, 12.2% of obese women are between 15 and 19 years old, while 28.5% of them are 20 to 29 years old. Now, the next age bracket, that's 30 to 39-year-olds, they represent 43.4% of obese women in Kenya. The Kenyan women who are most affected by obesity are the 40 to 49-year-olds, here at 48%. Well, experts warn that this may get worse across the genders if you don't watch what's on your plate. So, as you have your dinner tonight, think carefully about what you are eating. All right, away from that now, let's shift focus to another shocker, and members of Parliament are keen on getting additional allowances, specifically the night out allowances, as a way of shielding themselves if they lose the court case against their house allowances. Now get this, some of the legislators are now saying that it is the Public Service Commission that's planning to hand them the allowance for nights spent in Nairobi on account of house business and not their own push. Whether we believe that, well, I'll leave it to you. According to the PSC, the 416 members of Parliament want a night allowance of between 18,200 shillings and 24,000 shillings per night for the 4 nights that they will be in Nairobi. Well, this will see MPs receive as much as 96,000 shillings per week and up to 384,000 shillings per month as night allowances, even though a number of them do actually have homes right here in Nairobi. Well, this comes just a few weeks after the PSC allocated and paid all MPs a monthly allowance of 250,000 shillings, backdated to October last year.
Wamekuwa tu greedy kwa sababu ni kama wao ndio wana uwezo wa kujiamulia ni nini wanapewa, na wasipopewa wana blackmail wale ambao wanafaa kuwapea. Inatakana pia wakuwe considerate.
Tunakataa ufisadi ambao inataka kufanywa ama hujuma ambao inataka kufanywa na wabunge. Sisi tunajua milioni 2 tumewapea ni sawa sawa. Hawezi kusema wanataka sitting allowance, standing allowance, walking allowance, sleeping allowance. Sasa na wananchi wanapata tabu.
Wakidai hapo wao wanalipwa pesa ya usiku. Hatujui kama wamekuwa watchmen, hatujui ni janga gani hili limewapata, waone wanaweza ongea usiku. Tunajua most of the times hawako kwa bunge, wako katika mambo zao mchana.
Who we voted as leaders have become vipers. Ile pesa kidogo ambayo wanastahili kushughulikia ama kusukuma ipate kwa Wanjiko, hiyo pesa wanataka iwafaidi wao wenyewe.
Hiyo ni kama kutufinyilia. Hiyo pesa kama ingewekwa kwa idara ingine ikuje tusaidie sisi kama wanajua kali, ingekuwa sawa sana.
Wanataka tu waweze kupata makuu ya wao wenyewe.
Mimi napinga hiyo kabisa, hizo allowances za kukuja hapa walipwe, wakienda sijui wapi walipwe. Si kuna mshahara wanalipa, kuna allowances zingine pia zenye wanalipa.
Kuna vijana wengi wamesoma, wako na mabarua, wamejaa tu hapo kwa pikipiki, na wale wanaendelea kufanya kazi ndio wanataka promotion ya pesa. Sasa hiyo hai make sense hata kidogo.
Hiyo pesa wasipewe kwa sababu sasa hii wa Kenya wanalala hata njaa. Kuna wenye wanalala njaa, hata mashule mengi ukiona kwa TV, hata baada kuna hata classrooms nini, na mtu anataka pesa ongezwe.
Thoughts there on the request for night allowances by MPs from some members of the public. Well, the MPs never do cease to amaze, do they? It's all about the money, and on to another story about money. You ought to be careful, because did you know that publishing pictures or even videos with bank notes can earn you a jail term or a fine of 100,000 shillings, and that a failure to pull down the picture can also earn you a fine of 10,000 shillings daily. The Central Bank of Kenya Act says that using the Kenyan currency either in a picture or in a video without the CBK's consent is in fact illegal. NTV's Silas Apollo reports on this existing part of the law, which has seen a pastor who put out a poster with images of cash on it, retracting it and then apologizing for it.
The advent of social media and people becoming increasingly visual, Kenyans have been treated to shows of opulence, real or not being a different discussion altogether. Individuals unashamedly posting pictures and videos sporting money, sometimes in large amounts. Not to forget music videos, where some artists have perfected the art in the same groove as their counterparts in developed countries. In other instances, which are less about flamboyance, there are advertisements or other promotional materials that have money being part of the message and not the focus. An example, for instance, is this poster by Reverend Samson Muthui of the ATG Deliverance Church in Mwiki, Nairobi. He was inviting congregants to a dedication service for the new currency, and to ensure no one was mistaken, he had images of the new notes on the poster. But there is a problem, and this is not about the theological concerns raised by online community, but legal ones. The Central Bank put out a tweet indicating an existing section of the Central Bank of Kenya Act, specifically the Central Bank of Kenya Currency Handling Regulations of 2010, addressing the use of images of cash. The regulations indicate that nobody shall use cash or images of cash, current or historical, for any use other than transactional without the CBK's approval. To publish images or videos of cash, one is expected to seek approval from the CBK in writing. The bank's response should be processed and communicated within 14 days. The person seeking approval will be required to provide their full name and physical address, nationality, the reason why they want to use the notes, and a declaration that the intended use will not infringe the bank's copyright over the cash. CBK says that its decision on whether to grant the approval or not will be final. In addition to any repercussions in any other law, failure to comply to the regulation should see one face a penalty of 100,000 shillings and a daily surcharge of 10,000 shillings if the breach is not remedied in the specified time. These legalities, which have been unknown to many, come as a surprise and seemingly a scare to the man of the cloth who took to social media to apologize. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Elsewhere now. They say every cloud has a silver lining, and for the former General Service Unit officer Nicholas Langat, who slid into alcoholism after his dismissal from work and the loss of his wife, this day marks new beginnings as he hopes that the silver lining in his cloud will lead to a normal life as he walks the journey of a recovering alcoholic. Bridget Ngana has the details.
For Nicholas Langat, a former GSU officer and a recovering alcoholic, never has he found a friend indeed like the one he made in Sergeant Moses Kimenchu, an anti-addiction campaigner among the disciplined forces. 3 months ago, Langat and Kimenchu met in Kericho County, where Langat, a trained recce officer, had sunk into alcoholism. After NTV highlighted his plight, he found the help he so badly needed.
Wakati nilikuwa addicted, hiyo wakati maisha ilikuwa na changamoto mingi sana. So given a chance to go back for my job, I think my life will never be the same.
Langat says he lost himself after his wife succumbed to cancer and he was left with a toddler to care for.
Sasa nikashindwa nitajisaidika aje. Ndio hii nimepoteza kazi. Pipi ameaga and the kid is still young. Nikaona sasa hakuna hopes in life. Sasa the option was just to stick in alcohol addiction.
For 8 years, Sergeant Kimenchu has led a campaign to sensitize those in the uniformed forces, and he believes alcoholism and drug addiction should be declared a national disaster.
The government should come up with a program whereby they put a place of rehabilitation centers for police officers and even the army officers because we are undergoing so many stress, and our case, it's not different from other cases.
And Langat, just like any other recovering addict, hopes the society would be more receptive of their kind.
Tusaidiane, tumshikilie, akikuja unamshikilia na unamwambia there's still hope. Sababu kukosa matumaini ndio sana sana inafanyaga watu waingie kwa addiction.
Jaribu haswa kuongelesha, you encourage kwa maisha, advice that's not the end of life. Maisha inaweza change.
Indeed, life is full of second chances, and this is one more chance for Nicholas Lagat, a constable at the GSU and also a recce officer whose life alcoholism had turned upside down. He's now optimistic that after a 3-month rehabilitation program, he'll be able to walk out of this rehab a changed man and hopefully once again serve this country he so much loves. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Nakuru County.
Well, all the best to Nicholas Langat, an inspiration for many, no doubt. All right, at the top of this broadcast, we brought you pictures of the vast Kakuma camp. And to that story now, education in Kenya is turning the pages of a new curriculum that is expected to churn out leaders that are well prepared for the global job market. And with the competency-based curriculum program already in its second year of study, the Ministry of Education is partnering with the UNHCR to ensure that children who have had to make a home far away from home are not left behind. Leila Mohammed brings the story of educating the children of the Kakuma refugee camp in Turkana County.
Dusty roads crisscross the tin canopies that form the Kakuma refugee camp, reveal a well-planned settlement, and while the hills stand tall in the background, they do not overshadow the blue tin roofs that cover 2 education complexes that serve the many children of this camp. On the ground, children whose families have fled conflict and tough times at home walk the dusty roads of Kakuma camp in Turkana County to school. Due to the large numbers, the children come in shifts. For years, this was the life of 3 young people who now in their adult life are hoping to get into the next journey to improve their lives.
I came here mainly because of the insecurity that was prevailing in the area back in South Sudan, and going to school became a problem since most of the children are adapted on their way to school.
My dream has been becoming a doctor in future. If only I get the support to facilitate my education.
With many like them turning up for school to get an education, they can only share their gratitude for the opportunity to study here in their newfound home.
Education, I think it's beneficial to them because they can realize their dreams in future and they can become whoever they want.
For me personally, I can see the benefit of educating from the education system and being included by the Kenyan government into the education system. At least we all have equal chances.
These 3 went through the 844 system that is being phased out, but those behind them are among the millions of students across the country being ushered into the new curriculum.
When we were doing capacity building of teachers on CPC, our officers also provided that training within the camps. And they were trained by our own officers so that we can be able to harmonize the way that we deliver on CPC.
While the government of Kenya is partnering with UN agencies to increase the number of schools offering basic education here, soon university education will be offered here too. The Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology is constructing the Turkana West campus. Kakuma refugee camp celebrate the wins and misses in life with the hope that while they wait for a better time to get back home, they can still secure a bright future. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
And elsewhere into a sad story, prominent businessman and lawyer Karanja Kabage has passed away. He died Friday night after an accident along Nairobi's southern bypass. Police say Kabage was rushed to the Nairobi hospital by Good Samaritans but was pronounced dead upon arrival. An official report by the Office of the Inspector General confirmed the incident, but as NTV's Mel Miendo reports, there are indications that Kabage may have suffered a heart attack while driving.
The news of the death of lawyer, politician and businessman Karanja Kabage came as a shock to many. An incident that occurred Friday night along the southern bypass from the direction heading away from Mombasa Road. An official report from the Office of the Inspector General states that Kabage was driving a black Land Cruiser VX, with eyewitnesses saying his car veered to the wrong side of the road, slowed down and appeared to be making a U-turn before slightly hitting a pavement. This caused him to turn to the other side of the road and hit a rail before stopping. Police say a taxi driver and another Good Samaritan rushed to Kabage's rescue. The taximan drove him in the black Land Cruiser VX to Nairobi Hospital upon his request. A second man followed in another car. Kabage was unconscious upon his arrival at the hospital. The doctors tried to resuscitate him, but he was unfortunately pronounced dead. Investigations into the cause of his death are currently underway. Kabage's car has since been impounded at the Langata police station. Police did not allow members of the press to view the vehicle. There are indications, however, that Kabage may have died from cardiac arrest. Post-mortem results conducted privately by the family's doctor at the Lee Funeral Hospital have not been released to the public. President Kenyatta has eulogized Kabage, describing him as a resourceful person who was always ready to offer legal aid. President Kenyatta stated he had lost a great friend and a great son of Kenya. He has also been mourned by politicians from his home county of Nakuru, where he sought to become the senator but was not voted in. Kabage will be remembered for his invaluable contribution in the insurance sector, where he had a distinguished career. He served as a director at the African Reinsurance Corporation and First Reinsurance Brokers Limited. The Kenya Private Sector Alliance KEPSA paid its tributes through a statement describing Kabage as a long-serving transformational leader who created an environment for business to thrive and was deeply passionate about the country. Until his demise, he was a trustee of KEPSA Foundation and had previously served as KEPSA chair. Mel Miendo, NTV.
Well, Karanja Kabage also contributed several times to our news shows here on NTV, a resourceful and genuine man. We will, of course, be thinking of his family at this difficult time. May his soul rest in peace. All right, to another story. 19 Rwandese charged with robbery with violence escaped from the police vehicle they were being transported in while it was in a traffic snarl-up. Police say the vehicle, which was headed to the industrial area prison, was in slow-moving traffic when the prisoners broke part of the left side grills and escaped. 2 out of the 19 were recaptured near the Marikiti open-air market, with both of them sustaining injuries on different parts of their bodies. They've been taken to the Thika Level 5 hospital, where they're being treated and will be arraigned and further charged with escape from lawful custody. All right, you're watching NTV Weekend Edition. It's 20 past the hour. Time for a quick break, but as always, there's more to come. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now, walk the streets of Nairobi or any other town in the country late at night, and you will most likely see young people who are either in commercial sex work, drug addiction, or other crimes. Well, some of them could tell stories of how desperation got them into the tight, dark spaces that their lives are confined to. Others, who are now off the dark alleys, tell of how they wrestled out of the darkness and into the light of hope. Hope for a better tomorrow, hope for a clean, legal way of making ends meet. Helen Aura spoke to some former sex workers and drug abusers in Kayole who tell of their dark journey to the light.
Kayole, a part of the capital that has its positive edge, which in some cases is serrated by narratives and realities of crime, and more so among young people, gender notwithstanding. Margaret Mumbua, a single mother of one, carries out her daily chores, putting her house in order. She had barely gotten into teenage when she began dating one of the most wanted criminals. One of the fruits of her relationship was that she dropped out of school in Standard 7 after she got pregnant. Her mother did not approve of her boyfriend, and so she ran away from home.
Kamwambia sasa juu mimi siwezi toa mimba, tuishi pamoja. Tulikuwa tunakaa kwa plot mwezi moja, tunarudi tunahama juu landlord anataka tuhame.
Mumbua says police officers had repeatedly issued warnings to her husband regarding his lifestyle, but to no avail. She says on one Tuesday evening back in 2013, things changed.
Simu napigiwa nikaambiwa na mabeste wangu, sikuje huko home, tumeona maaskari wamekuja. Beste yangu akakuja akaniambia, ujue mtu wako ameshauliwa.
Young and naive, she was left with a mouth to feed, no job. Their sole breadwinner was dead. She needed a hand and got one, which led her into a different dimension of morality. And just 16 years old, she got into prostitution.
Tuenda town, siku ya kwanza nilienda na mtu akanitumia vibaya.
She says on her second day, a man wanted to engage in an unnatural act, promising to pay her more if she played along. She refused and managed to wrestle him off, after which she went back to her friends on the street. She told her she cannot continue with the life, and she wanted out. The woman told her to just endure it, as that is what they have also gone through over their time in the trade. 26-year-old Beryl Atieno, her scars are a reminder of the fast life she was entangled in from a tender age.
Mimi nimeacha class 8 na nijia madawa. Nilikuwa nakunywa, navuta bangi, natumia matap-tap.
She met her then husband, who was also a gangster, during a mission she had gone for with her friends, and that is where the relationship kicked off as she became pregnant. But their union was not to last.
Kalea mtoi wangu tulilea akafikisha miaka 2.5. Budaka akakuja akaangushwa.
She was left behind with her 2-year-old and another pregnancy on the way. Many girls who have resorted to the street life as a means to an end say poverty pushes them into it.
Ukipata mtu wa bei rahisi utamwambia akupe 200. Enyo ukipata kama mtu ni fala atanaweza kupatia 1,000.
Margaret says the abuse she encountered on the job became too much, and so she opted out. However, she resorted to a life of drugs as she sought to numb the pain, to try and forget it all. After months of engaging in drugs, a friend introduced her to a safe haven known as Faith Rescue Network Ministry, an organization that seeks to rehabilitate former prostitutes, drug addicts, and criminals, where she could get some food for her and her child regularly. And that is where her transformation journey began.
Siku ya kwanza nilienda nikuwa mlevi kabisa. Nakwambia mimi pasta yenyewe siwezi. Mimi ndio mama na mimi ndio baba kwa mtoto wangu. Na sasa kwanza endi shule, juu aliacha shule, sina uwezo. Pastor Steve na Pastor Mary wakanichukulia mtoi, wakampeleka shule. Nikaacha pombe polepole.
Beryl's friend introduced her to the street ministry. Knowing no other life, she was reluctant.
Hairi tu niendelenge kuumiza raia nikienda nikiendanga.
She tried to get rid of her pregnancy as she felt it was now coming in the way of her work, as she also did not have the money to raise another child. Her abortion plans did not succeed due to complications, and she resorted to plan B.
Nilikuwa nimepata customer wa Kiete, ilikuwa ni uzee mtui.
The plan did not pull through either, as her friend kept pushing her to go seek help from the ministry.
Mimi nikaonyesha pasi yenyewe mimi ndo nile hawa toi wangu. Lazima tu niende road ama nipie watu jiondo pesa ya haraka juu bila hiyo sioni. Pasi akaniambia hapana, hiyo si maisha. Unaona venye mmeingia hapa, mimi ni baba yenu kuanzia leo na mimi na huyu ni mama na huyu ni mama yenu. Nikaona yenyewe hii upendo imezidi. Nikashikilia hapo.
The ministry run by Pastor Steve Mbugua and his wife Mary has impacted over 500 youth in the area.
We don't empower them only spiritually, but we empower them even physically. Kuna wale ambao tumepatia kazi za kufanya, kuna wale ambao tumepatia courses za kufanya.
Mbugua says his heart is to help and redirect those who are lost in social ills was born of his own experiences.
Nimefika 16 years, nimeingilia crime where nilikuwa kwa wizi wa kimabavu, and then baadaye nikakuja nikaokoka in the year 2000 na nikapatia na bunduki yangu kwa serikali.
The Mbuguas seek to grow the organization and its impact, especially in slums, but are short of funds. Margaret and Beryl, on their part, are still unemployed but searching as they strive to move in the right direction.
Despite their harsh surroundings, majority of young people in Kayole can now afford a smile following this initiative. They cling on to hope that the next generation will be saved from the social ills that they went through. Helen Aura, NTV.
What a transformation. It just goes to show that really anything is possible if you put your mind to it. All right, let's shift focus now from that story to another. And leaders from the North Rift have blamed the government for the abduction and killing of Benson Kiptire, a former member of the County Assembly in Elgeyo Marakwet, 3 weeks ago. The late Kiptire was reportedly kidnapped by unknown men at Rock Center near Eldoret town before being found dead at Kamatira Forest in West Pokot County. The MCA was laid to rest today in Tenderwa in Elgeyo Marakwet.
Liwe na liwalo, taifa la Kenya iko na sheria na iko na mahakama ambayo imepewa jukumu ya kuamua kama kuna mambo yoyote ambayo mtu anafikiria kwa mtu fulani. Na kwa hivyo tunataka kukataa maneno ya watu kuwawa ovyo ovyo. Bado unakaa unasikia huyu ameshikwa, kidogo unasikia amekufa.
My message to President Uhuru Kenyatta, and I'm very clear in my mind, security will not be managed in the country through assassinations and extrajudicial killing. It won't solve any problem in this country. This nation will not be built through violence, because violence begets violence.
Huyu mtu anaitwa PS Kipicho ni mtu kumbafu. Ni mtu kumbafu. Leo Kipicho kasi yake ni kufanya siasa. Kupanga nani atakuwa rais 2022. Amesahau kasi yenye alipewa kusimamia security ya nchi.
All right, we've hit 9:30. It's time for a break on NTV Weekend Edition. When we come back, women and power. Stay tuned. success is no accident, and 27-year-old Millicent Ntinyari knows this all too well. Now, Millicent is a flight attendant, has a taxi business, runs an online clothing shop, offers photography services, and get this, is pursuing an undergraduate degree in public relations and electronic media. And she's also a mother. This mother of one is clearly a Jackie, perhaps, of all trades, and shared her driving force with Gladys Gashanja on this week's Women in Power.
My name is Millicent Ntinyari. I'm a mother of one daughter. I'm a cabin crew member here at Air Kenya. I also do taxi business, that is Taxify. During my free time, like when I leave my business here at Air Kenya, so I also sell clothes online, merchandise. It's basically Mtumba, fast camera though, online. And then I also do photography services, photo mounting, canvas printing, or anything to do with photo printing and stuff like that. I've been at Air Kenya for 4 years now. So I first started as a receptionist before I became a cabin crew member. Back when I was doing pharmacy at KMTC, I went for my internship in Mombasa. So there's this friend of mine, I used to tell all the time, I would like to be a cabin crew member one day, but I didn't know what it would take for me to be there. Baggage claim after the barrier to the right, okay? Great. I just had it in me, the thing of flying and traveling, because traveling is one of my biggest passions. We're now ready to board our flight service to Masai Mara. I mostly do the morning shifts here at Air Kenya. You see, we have our check-in here. So for us as cabin crew, you double up as a check-in attendant and a flight attendant. My day starts at 4:30 in the morning. When I wake up, 5:30, 5:45, we should be at work. So I get here at Air Kenya around that time. Today I had a flight at 7:30. So mostly, so you start your day, you do the paperwork in the morning, you check in passengers. Then when time for your almost 30 minutes to your flight time, you go for a pre-flight, and then we go for the flights. After 1 o'clock, then, you know, now I can switch on my app because I'm done with my official formal duties at Air Kenya. Mostly I get to get clients coming out of Wilson because some need to go to JKIA for an international flight, some just need to go home. I can do about 1 or 2 rides. My sister, she's the one who manages the SN Trendywear business. I actually started it for her because of her school fees. So if we have a delivery, then I can take up a delivery or 2. If there's no delivery, I go on with my taxi till class time. I try to end my day by around 9 or 10 p.m. That's when I go home. Because I'm a mother as well, so I also try to keep the balance. You know, I don't have to do like taxi the whole time, like after my work. Sometimes I choose, you know what, I also have a child, so you know she needs me at the end of the day, so sometimes I just put it off and just go. Come to think of it, I don't know how I actually came to become this entrepreneurial woman, because at some point I was feeling so frustrated with life, especially at KMTC when I had to drop out of school. Passengers flying to Kilimanjaro holding yellow boarding cards. I hustled a lot, and then I also wanted to have my sister, like not live the life that I had gone through, because in college it was really frustrating. I didn't have school fees, I didn't have accommodation, it was really bad. You don't have to go borrowing money or this sponsor thing generation, this Slay Queen generation. Actually, you know, at the end of the day, I usually talk to my colleagues in school at Daystar. So I asked them, yeah, then you can slay, I can also slay. I mean, but you know, I feel as if at the end of the day, you will grow old. Then what will you have to show for it? Because you'll not be young forever.
Wow, to be a woman, eh? I mean, what a story, what an inspiration. And she's only 27 years old. Makes me wonder what I was doing at 27. And give that a thought for yourself. There really is a lot that you can achieve out there. All right, taking another break, don't go far. Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Time now for one of your favorite segments on Saturday night. Have you heard about this French cock, which is on trial for early morning cock-a-doodle-doos? The rooster, named Maurice, is at the center of a court battle that has raised howls of protest in the countryside. Now, a retired couple with a holiday home in the island town of France